This is my messy living room, and it's been this way for way too long, so in this video, we're gonna transform it into my dream gaming living room, but that's not gonna be an easy task. First of all, we've gotta pick everything up in here and find somewhere else to put it in the house, decorate it in a way my wife won't actually hate me for it.
And then at the end of the video, we're gonna make this living room be the ultimate entertainment / gaming setup for the whole family.
And a lot of this is gonna have to be done at night while my kid is sleeping, so we're gonna have to be really quiet. So let's get started.
So first, obviously, I had to pick up this trash of a living room. We have so many toys and so much junk in here, like it's crazy. Most of it's my son's stuff, some of it's my stuff, but we had to get it cleaned because in less than 2 weeks from the time of recording this, we're gonna have baby number 2 on the way. And so not only do I have to get this video done, I also have to get this entire room done before my wife goes into labor. Luckily, we have plenty of room in my son's bedroom to put the pack and play and a bunch of this other stuff, and we were able to get it pretty clean pretty fast, but it's never truly clean when you have a toddler at home, as you'll see later in the video.
All right, so we got the cleaning part over with, so now it's time to consult my wife and try to get her on board with the plan. I wanna add some really dope lights in here to make it more modern and not look like old people live here, as I think I might have already said. I want to change out the TV. Although we have a really nice big TV, it's only like 60 hertz. And so if I try to game on it, it's terrible. I know, first world problems, right? So we want to add a gaming TV. And last but not least, we're going to build a really dope mini PC to put in the entertainment center so that I can comfortably game on the couch while my kids are running around playing, or if I, don't want to hide in my man cave all the time. So I think we're going to start with the lights. All right, so for our lights, our friends over at Nanoleaf were super nice to send out a bunch of stuff for our living room, starting with these light bulbs. These are multicolored RGB light bulbs that connect to the Wi-Fi and can change colors and all that fun stuff. And they're going to replace all the lights in my ceiling and even in my ceiling fan. Maybe we'll replace the ceiling fan. I don't know. It's kind of a pain. Next, we have the Nanoleaf lines. These let us have a really cool design, and we might put it like above the TV, below the TV, or maybe on this accent wall over here, like around our family pictures. I don't really know what we'll do with these yet, but we're gonna put them somewhere, that's for sure. And then we also got this light strip, which is like 16 feet of lights. So what I'm thinking is to light the back of the entertainment center. And so we'll have the entertainment center to have a nice little glow behind it. And then on each side of the entertainment center, we're gonna throw up one of these really awesome Nanoleaf floor lamps, which again, are gonna give us a ton of options for colors. And last but not least, we got the Nanoleaf 4D, which can sync to our TV with the floor lamps to create a really cool environment while you're watching movies or playing video games. And I can't wait to try this out at the end of the video, and hopefully my wife doesn't kill me for putting RGB everywhere in our living room. So make sure you watch to find that out.
Now by this time, my kid's already in the bed, so I have to be very careful not to wake him up because my kid will be very upset and my wife will make me sleep on the couch. So I was very careful to only install the light on the back of the TV, the Nanoleaf 4D, and the 2 floor lamps. Those were quiet enough that I thought I would be okay, and luckily I made it through without waking my son up. But unfortunately, in order to change out the ceiling lights, I was gonna need the ladder from the garage, and that was gonna make way too much noise, so I had to wait until the next day. But luckily for me, my parents were able to come over and help me today, so while my mom occupied my son, I was able to change out all the ceiling lights with the Nanoleaf RGB bulbs. But not only that, since my dad was over here, we decided to go ahead and change out the ceiling fan. And I got this really cool farmish looking ceiling fan that my wife totally picked out from Amazon and I had nothing to do with, but thankfully my dad is really good at this stuff and he helped me change it out. But that doesn't stop here. In fact, our friends over at TCL were nice enough to send out a new TV for us to hang up on the wall. I've never had a gaming TV before, and this is a 65-inch mini LED TV from TCL. It supposedly goes up to 144 hertz, which we will put to the test later in the video, but my dad was able to help me take off the old TV from the wall, change out the brackets, and put the new TV up there. So now we have RGB and a TV, but then we kind of ran into some problems.
All right, so in case you couldn't tell, living with a toddler is really hard to keep the living room clean, but now we at least have our new TV hooked up and most of the RGB lights, and we've got all the ceiling lights replaced, but I haven't changed the colors of those yet. But we do have one really big problem when it comes to the TV. So now we've got the really nice TV hung up, but one thing with the cords that are on the back here, we've cut out a hole in our wall to go down there. We did that a long time ago, so it was already here, so I didn't really film that process. this. But what we've run into is all the HDMI ports on our old TV were on this side. And all the HDMI ports on this new TV are on the other side. And the cords that we use are not quite long enough. I was able to get one of them to reach, but I don't think that it will actually reach anywhere important. So what I'm gonna have to do is order some adapters and see if I can couple those together, because I don't really want to snake new HDMI cords through that hole because it's a very tedious process. So I bought some adapters. They're supposed to be rated for 4K up to 240 Hertz as long as you don't go past like 22 feet. And we're definitely not gonna go past that here. I only need like an extra 3-ish feet or so. So I've ordered some 3-foot HDMI cords with these adapters, and we're gonna see if they'll work and give us that performance that we need, especially when we hook up our gaming PC later in the video, and I can't wait to show you guys that. Now, while we're waiting on those adapters to get here, we're gonna try to install our sound system, which I'm super excited about because right now, I just kind of have a plain Jane sound bar here. It's from Sony, but it's like 6 or 7 years old. Hey, 6, 7! Just like our TV was. And we do have a subwoofer back in the back of the room, but this new sound system we got is from Samsung. Now, I paid for this out of pocket.
Unfortunately, my microphone decided to die right here as I was explaining to you that I ordered the Samsung Q990C because it's only like $900 on Amazon right now, which is half the cost of a brand new soundbar and like a third of the cost of Sony's. So that's what we decided to go with, and let's get it unboxed.
That was heavy. All right, let's see how good this thing. Yay, more cleaning. It's massive. Ooh, fancy. Wow. Very nice.
Don't worry, I'm not going to make you watch me unbox the entire sound system like that, unless that's something you want to see in the future. Let me know down in the comments.
I want to stop right here. One pro tip while plugging these up is you want to make sure that you plug up the actual HDMI into the HDMI port that says like eARC, which for us should be this one. That's for like sound bars and stuff. So gotta make sure you do that if you want the best performance out of your sound bar. I guess it's not really best performance. I guess it's just performance in general. It's gotta be plugged into that. This sound bar actually has 3 HDMI ports, but again, you got the one with the eARC. That's the one that we're going for. And it is not gonna fit. So our sound bar is gonna have to sit on top of this, which I'm sure my wife would be super duper excited about. All right, so with the speakers, I don't want to screw them into the walls anywhere. One, my wife probably not go for that. Number two, I don't want to drill holes in the sheetrock in case we change speakers and then those don't work one day. So instead, we bought these mounts. So we're gonna do that.
These stands were super easy to put together and mount the speakers on. So after I did that, I was able to position them where I wanted them in the living room along with the subwoofer. So we were able to kind of test the sound system and see how good it was. Also, just an FYI, everything that we use in this video will be linked down in the description if you want to check any of it out on Amazon.
All right, so we've got one speaker back here by the piano. My wife loves to play the piano, by the way. And we got our subwoofer over here at the rear of the room, but still within line of the couch over here. And the other is over here in the corner that will also be directed towards everyone. And of course the soundbar is here, which is super nice. I just can't get it centered until we get those adapters because the cord's not long enough. So everything's kind of slightly that way, but that's beside the point. Overall, I'm super pleased with the performance of the soundbar and how minimal it is for the most. Cord's a little short with the soundbar on the side over here in the corner, which I'm gonna have to figure something out with that. I don't know if I need to run like a small extension cord or something. I don't want my kid tripping over that cord or anything. So I'll figure that out. But other than that, super excited with the performance. I think it sounds pretty good, but now we just gotta wait for those adapters to come in so we can show you the gaming PC. Oh, and we have one other really, really cool surprise at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Okay, so my adapter finally came in, and it's supposed to be able to pass through 4K. It says 240 Hertz, but our monitor / TV only caps out at 144, so hopefully this will work. Because we just built a beast of a gaming PC, and it was not an easy task whatsoever, but I've got a dedicated video for this PC in case you missed that. But this thing's rocking a Core Ultra 7 processor, the 265KF, and our friends over at MSI were nice enough to help us out, along with Nanoleaf, to make all of this possible. They sent out a Z890i Edge TI Wi-Fi ITX motherboard, as well as a 2TB Gen 4 SSD to store all the games in my Steam library that I've been neglecting, as well as a 240mm AIO. Now, as you can see, the graphics card is also MSI, but I paid for that myself, and it's an RTX 5070. Even though it's only got 12 gigabytes of VRAM, with the DLSS 4, it's more than capable of playing 4K smooth enough for me to have fun. So let's hook this thing up, and I've got one more surprise that I'm super duper excited about. Put this full gaming setup all together for perfect use.
So I went to get the entire PC hooked up, and while I was doing that, I realized that I was missing something very, very, very important.
All right, so one thing about this adapter that I didn't realize hadn't came in yet is I need another high-speed 4K cable to reach the rest of the way behind the TV, and those haven't came in yet from Amazon. So I'm gonna have to use this really long one, and it's gonna dangle behind the TV, and we're just gonna have to go with that because I gotta finish this video. I could always, you know, like electrical tape it behind the TV or use some command strips or something like that, which we might do just to make it look nice for the B-roll.
And that, my friends, is why you always keep your extra cables, because you never know when they might come in handy.
All right, now that we're almost completely ready to play, there's only one more surprise that's gonna put this all together. And you can just use a controller and sit back and relax if you want to, or you can grab a wireless keyboard and mouse like this Logitech Pro TKL and the original G Pro Superlight. I've got it hooked up to one dongle that they share. Now let's see if everything works. The computer's on. Let's see if we get a signal. I don't know why my family can't just put the remote where they're supposed to.
Hello?
Hey, where's the TV remote?
I spent like the next 10 minutes on the phone with my wife trying to figure out where the TV remote was on the TV that we literally just hung up like a few hours ago, only to realize that it was somewhere randomly in the kitchen, and it was totally my fault, and I had to apologize for my wife for blaming her.
All right, found the remote, got it up and running. First thing we're gonna check before the last surprise of the video. Let's see if this TV will actually run 144 Hertz. All right, so it didn't do 144 Hertz, it only did 120 Hertz, but hey, beggars can't be choosers, right? It's still gonna be really smooth and really fun. And we're gonna try Battlefield 6, because at the time of recording, it just came out. All right, now for the last part of the setup. This is called the Couchmaster. It's from a company called Nerdy Tech, and I'm super excited to try this out.
But before I could do that, I got interrupted by the cutest helper ever.
He's calling out the colors on the PC. Hey buddy, are you calling out the colors? Huh? What colors are those? Don't touch them, it'll hurt your finger. But what colors? What's the colors?
Blue, purple, red.
That was about all we could get him to do on camera, so after that, I decided to get everything else completely set back up to play some games on our new living room setup.
All right, so we've got the game playing through our surround sound right now. I have a headset, but I'm not gonna plug it up so you guys can hear and hopefully get like an immersive experience for us here. This also, it would be really good for a laptop situation here.
But that's enough yapping for me. Let's hop into Battlefield 6 to put this entire entertainment space to the test. But unfortunately, there was one hiccup that I didn't pay attention to earlier in the video that you need to be aware of. This TCL TV is awesome, but when I tried to turn it to the 120 Hertz game mode, I did notice that it automatically drops the resolution down to 1440p to get that 120 Hertz cap. This is not a deal breaker for me, but it could be for you, so I wanted you to know about it. It could be user error on my part. There may be a setting I can change on the TV. I just wasn't aware of it, but either way, the gameplay experience was super smooth. We were on high settings, 1440p. We got like 90 to 100 FPS, and then when I turned on DLSS, even without frame generation, we were pushed up over 150, which is a super smooth experience here because with 90 FPS as our base FPS number, the input latency is really not that bad. And with the surround sound system being the way that I listened to the game, it was super immersive and really, really cool. So I think my whole family is going to enjoy this entertainment space for a long time to come.
But if you want to see how the PC that put this whole setup together was actually built, go watch this video.